Hey guys, welcome back for another video. We're going to talk about the biggest mistake I see people do when trying to shallow the club out, when trying to come from the inside. So very generally speaking, this is the most common mistake I see people make when trying to shallow or trying to come from the inside. We can see, and we've talked about in this channel, that if the club is coming more from behind you, the club head being more behind us, you're probably going to be more from the inside. But what I see a lot of people do is they do it like this. Sure, the club is shallowing out, the shaft is shallowing out, the club's coming from the inside because the club is traveling back and down. But when I do this, my left shoulder rises, my lead shoulder rises, my trail shoulder drops. I'm going to be really from the inside. But one, we're not rotating as we do this. Two, you're going to hurt your back. And three, the club face controller is going to be not on this planet. So if you try to do this, if you try to practice this and rehearse this, where you're here, and then you lean and tilt your upper body back. Sure, you're going to be coming from the inside, but bad things happen. You're going to hit the ground. You're going to hurt your back. You don't rotate. You're going to be too inside out. You're not going to be able to control your face. None of that we want. We don't want that. The proper way to shallow the club out and to come from the inside is you have to make sure as you do whatever it takes, whether you're letting the club head fall behind you, whether you're doing it through the loop, whether you're down hinging, whatever you do to keep that club head back, you have to maintain your inclination. Your lead shoulder has to stay down in the downswing so that it does not rise prematurely and excessively, okay? We don't want any of that. The key to successfully shallowing the club out and coming from the inside with predictability is to ensure that you maintain your inclination. At the top of your backswing, your lead shoulder is lower than your trail shoulder. We know that. When you make your downswing, the lead shoulder should still be lower than the trail until somewhere when the chest is roughly facing the ball. If your chest is still before the ball in the downswing, this lead shoulder should not be higher than the trail shoulder. It should still be lower. So for a lot of people, you have to make sure you keep that lead shoulder down as you turn, as you do whatever it is you try to do to shallow the club. So let's try. So if I'm shallowing the club out just by letting the club head fall more behind me, just bending my wrist back, you can see I do this. My lead shoulder still stays down. That's okay because we're going to be able to rotate. If I'm doing it through the loop, same thing, my lead shoulder is still down. At no point do I want to do any of that and let the lead shoulder rise early, because you can see this is like way inside out. I'm going to hurt my back. I'm not going to even get back to the ball. We don't want any of that stuff. So if you're someone who is trying to shallow the club out, if you're someone who's trying to come from the inside a little bit better because you're an over-the-top guy, chances are you're not over the top because your lead shoulder is working down. You're over the top because you throw your arms in front of you. So we got to make sure that the core structure, the core movement in terms of how you rotate through the body is met where you can turn and maintain inclination, not losing inclination, and just make sure that the arms, hands, club is sufficiently deep enough in the downswing to give yourself a chance at shallowing and coming from the inside, okay? So I exaggerate one for you guys. I'm gonna make sure I do whatever it takes to keep my arm depth, my hand depth, my club head depth in the downswing as I try to make sure that my lead shoulder stays down in the round so I'm not tilting back excessively. And I feel like I haven't tilted back too much there. I'm still very from the inside 12 degrees because I've done a great job of really exaggerating keeping the arm, hand, club depth back as I go lead shoulder somewhat down in the round. So I hope that makes sense. If you're trying to shallow things out, make sure you still maintain your inclination, maintain your lead shoulder being lower in the downswing. Never, ever, ever tilt back to try to come from the inside, to try to shallow it, to try to drop it in the slot. We don't want that to happen. So check that on video. Make sure you don't do that. Any questions, leave in the comments below, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.